I am starting to really like the ADP value of Cooper Kupp, who goes traditionally around the bottom of round number 3, but can oftentimes on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty fall into the top of round 4. He can be your 4th drafted player if you're crafty, if you're on alert, if you're doing multiple drafts. You'll see it happen. Not saying I'm against him being my 3rd round pick. Cooper Kupp is a fantastic player right now to grab in the late 3rd to early 4th round. I did not like him too much walking into last year. You guys know that. He's one of my bigger stay away, avoid candidates, and boy, did he crap the bed. So you might sometimes be like, Smitty, you like this guy one year, you don't like him. And then you like him the next year, you don't like him the next year, you go back and forth. But the truth of the matter is everything, by now you know this about me, everything is about adjusting and adapting. Everything is about ADP. Everything is about cost of entry, whether that's trading for a player or drafting a player in a startup, in a dynasty startup, in a redraft startup, in a waiver wire acquisition. You're dropping somebody, picking somebody up. Everything is about cost of entry or ADP or trade value, the value of the player, the cost of entry. And with Cooper Kupp, you're talking about the risk level. What used to be in round 1, or really round 1, that's all we ever knew Cooper Kupp as. Round 1, even if it was round 2, the risk level is really, really high. It's kind of like Derrick Henry. He's great in round 4. He's fantastic in round 4. He's pretty damn good in round 3. He becomes an avoid in round 2. It's called the line in the sand. We've talked about this before on the show. I coined this many, many years ago, and we reference it all the time. That, let's say, we'll just talk about Derrick Henry, for example. Here's round 2. Derrick Henry has a line in the sand where it's like right around round 3, somewhere in round 3. I don't mind him at the very top of round number 3, but we'll just use this like 3.2 as a reference point. So Derrick Henry, it's like avoid, line in the sand. He flips into a absolute smash in round 3. That's just the nature of it. Sometimes this line in the sand is a very wide line though, like where you're like, no. And then it becomes like a gray area to where you're like, kind of like him at 3.1, kind of like him at 3.2, love him at 3.3. It's just the nature of that line in the sand process. But Cooper Kupp's line in the sand is probably anywhere in mid round 3 or even top of round 3, similar to Derrick Henry. I think it's avoid. Round 1, of course. Round 2, of course, avoid. And then round 3, your 3rd drafted player, he becomes kind of a nice little crafty pick. Okay, so here are Cooper Kupp stats. Now, one thing I noted last year that I wanted people to understand and realize is that Cooper Kupp was really, really good in 2021, but he wasn't a monster for years and years and years. He had this 11-61 and 10 touchdown season, then this 9-74 and 3, and then remember the injury, and then the 16 touchdown, 1947, 145 reception season. That was his big, huge year. But prior to that, there was a good year, 10 touchdowns, 11-61. That was a good year, really good year. Near great, but good. But he never had any sort of like monster career year or elite year until this 2021. Now, before he got hurt here in 2022, he did start off on fire again, and he was kind of on the pace he was on here. So a lot of people like to use that 2022 and say, well, he was, Smitty, doing as good as he was in the past. But we really, like, looking at this, you do wonder, okay, was he not a one-year wonder, but was he more of a small shot in a small period of time, type of production guy? And you wonder, right? You wonder, because now he's 30 years old. Ziggy, how old is Cooper Kupp?
Cooper Kupp is 30 years old.
But he turns 31.
On June 15th, 1993.
June 15. So in 5 days, Cooper Kupp turns 31 years old. So we got to start calling him 31 years old. He's 31 years old walking into the season. Not a great year to be a wide receiver, but it's not like you're a running back. You can play well at 30 and potentially 31 years old. It's really 32 and 33 where it's like you're kind of done. You kind of put a fork in them type of age for a wide receiver. But 30 and 31, you enter 30, you can do it. You enter 31, entering 31 similar to a running back entering 28. And McCaffrey's going to experience this year. We're going to experience it with McCaffrey. Eckler entered 28 last year. Kamara entered 28 last year. Aaron Jones couldn't stay healthy, entered 28 last year. Eckler is the biggest, I think, best case to bring up because coming off of the year prior, he was as good as McCaffrey was this past season. So everyone was saying the same thing they're saying about McCaffrey right now. He's the number one until he's not. You can't even question it. At his 28-year-old season, Eckler coming off his 27 was just as fire. And everyone's like, you can't question Eckler coming off a 27-year-old monster season. Just like everyone's saying that about Christian McCaffrey's 27-year-old season. So 28's the new drop-off year for running backs, but you can do it. McCaffrey probably will. There's concern. You don't want to oversaturate McCaffrey shares. We talk about this all the time. Just like you wouldn't want to oversaturate the Cooper Kupp at 31 years old shares, but 31 is equivalent to 28 for wide receivers comparatively to running backs. So I'm okay with this investment because we're not paying second round value, we're paying third round value. And what I'm really here to point out is that we should be paying fourth round value. This live stream is not even to urge you to take them at round 3 value. Let's come back to the stats in a second. My urge here tonight, my pitch to you is to say, because he's going at 32-33, he's a couple spots away from that top of round 4. In leagues where you have the late 3rd round pick, very late, like 11th pick, or you have a pick where you're 4.2, whatever, 4.1. This is where I believe if we wait patiently, 1 out of every 4 or 5 drafts, we're going to find Cooper Kupp falling to that territory, at least on Underdog Fantasy. And non-best ball, I do believe he could maybe go higher than in best ball, but it doesn't matter. Like in the round 3 territory, when you're talking about DJ Moore, give me Kupp over DJ Moore. Well, why, Smitty? DJ Moore's so good. DJ Moore. Smitty, are you serious? DJ Moore is so good last year. He doesn't have a quarterback. I don't care what you say. His quarterback's underthrowing Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's saying, hell nah. Did anybody see that? Does anybody see this? Caleb Williams underthrowing Keenan Allen so badly that he yells, hell nah. He yelled, hell nah, after the throw. It's going viral. This is a crowded wide receiver room. DJ Moore is not the same player he was last year, not because of him, but because he's in a wide receiver room that's no longer just him. It's now Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, a rookie quarterback, and a team that can't develop a rookie quarterback. So do I want Kupp over DJ Moore? You bet your bottom dollar. Do I want Kupp over Diggs? Yeah, because he's in the same boat, similar. 3 wide receivers, Dell, Nico, Diggs. Diggs takes his big 4-year contract, voids all the years but 1 year? Why? Why make yourself obsolete? Why make yourself expendable? I don't even get it. Devontae Smith, I do like. I like Devontae Smith over Cooper Kupp, so maybe my line in the sand is right there. Neighbors, I take Neighbors over him. Of course, I take Kyron and Achane, Mike Evans. So we get up to that territory, and yeah, boom. Once we're into the 27 overall, this is 27 ADP, we're no longer interested in Cooper Kupp. I'm really only interested when I get into the mid-3rd round, and I'm super interested as my 4th drafted player. I get excited if Cooper Kupp's my 4th drafted player. I'm very, very much okay with him being my 3rd drafted player. You understand how there's a big difference? There's a big difference in 3rd drafted, 4th drafted, and you need to be able to contain yourself and let him fall in attempt to get him at least 1 or 2 times out of 5 or 6 or 7 in that late 3rd or early 4th round. But I like him. You want to look, we can't always talk about the big dogs. We can't always say this is a home run. We can't always talk about smashes that are going to constantly deliver for you. We have to sometimes take a deeper look at some questionable players so you can find a potential gem lying in the sand. And maybe this is that, maybe it isn't. I'm not saying I'm 100% on board this. I'm not saying I feel ultra confident to the point where I'm telling people to go do this, even at 4.1 in every draft. Diversify. I don't feel so confident about Kupp staying healthy, even at 4.1, that I'm going to say go get him in every single draft at that cost of entry. I'm not saying that. But 7, 37, and 5 is what he had last year, not able to stay healthy. I think he could have a 910 year. 10 touchdowns and 900 receiving yards in a maybe even 9 touchdowns and 900 receiving yards in a very disappointing year, and maybe like a 1050 or 1090 or maybe even 1100. But we'll call it 10. We'll call it 10-10. 10-10 and 10. The 10s. Cooper Kupp's gonna have the 10s. There it is. It's got such a nice ring to it. So 10, 10, and 10. I think it's a really, really, and maybe 100. I don't know. No, it'd probably be something along the lines of like 80 plus receptions, maybe 85. I don't know. But 10, 10, and 10 has a nice ring to it. Do it live. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Go tear up your draft. I hope this little 3rd round gem helps you. We'll be doing more of these little talks, and get out of here. Don't forget the Patreon is up and running, and the first 200 people, and that's going to go quick, so hurry up. First 200 people that sign up on the Patreon get into the 242-man league, and there'll be 11 different leagues of 22 people. I'll explain it all if you get in. There's 10 live chats that come with the Patreon. We're always in these live chats 365. The Patreon is just $10 a month. Cancel anytime. You get into this 200-person league if you hurry up. And the winners of each of the 11 leagues this year will get into the Dynasty League that we'll draft live on the channel, the official The Fantasy Football Show Dynasty League. And you're going to want to get in on that. Exclusive write-ups and videos also included. The Patreon's very simple. The app has these live chats you see right there. A game day live chat where we're in there during the games. Monday, Thursday, doesn't matter. And you can see all these chats. Very easy. There's a chat button, and then there's a home button that brings you to the written content. All of it locked down to the Patreons. Appreciate you all. And don't forget, we're drafting most midnights at midnight Eastern, most nights. 50% matching our first deposit up to $250 by using the code Smitty, which the link is in the description of the video, and inserts code Smitty for you. And so we draft most midnights. What is a staple and doesn't change is the Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern show every single Monday through Friday, and live when big news breaks. I'll see you all later.